Good morning and welcome to the Daily Light Devotion. I hope all of you have had a wonderful Thursday and looking forward to today. That is the 11th of July. Today we're going to look at continue with the encounter of Peter and Cornelius and kind of reaching the climax of it. And we see what happens from verses 34 to 43 of Acts 10 as Peter starts speaking, right? Kind of history shifts, and these verses record one of the clearest gospel intentions of the gospel, or the summary in the book of Acts. And it happens not in a kind of like a holy place like a synagogue, but it takes place in a Gentile's home. Peter now fully understands what God is showing him when he saw the dream. The message of Jesus is not limited by, race or background or traditions. The moment sets the foundation for a global mission, which we were blessed because we received the gospel here in India because of that, and the gospel went all around. So it is not just a sermon, it's a declaration of the universal reach of God's grace and God the gospel. So verses 34 and 35 says, then Peter began to speak. I now realize how true that it is that God does not show favoritism, but accepts from every nation the one who fears him and does what is right. Amazing. Peter's eyes are now opened. He has a revelation. God doesn't choose based on color, your race, background, culture. His grace is available for every person who seeks Him actively and sincerely, right? Who pursues Him. And that's God's heart for every person to be saved and no one, and to know to know that Jesus is Lord, that Jesus died for them to receive Jesus. That is God's heart. And and no one he doesn't have any favorites, right? Verses 36 said, you know the message God sent, telling the good news of peace through Jesus Christ, is Lord of who is Lord of all. So Jesus, Peter affirms that Jesus is Lord of all. That means he's not just Lord of a certain sect of people, but he is Lord of everyone, right? Also Jesus brings peace between that Adam and Eve lost in the Garden of Eden, between man and God. He bridged that, and now God looks at us because we have the right standing, we have the righteousness with us through peace through Jesus Christ. And that and then recounts Jesus' ministry, anointed with the Holy Spirit, doing good, healing of the oppressed, and setting everyone free. So the gospel is a message of peace, healing, freedom, and authority. Right? Jesus did not just preach, he restored and freed people. Verse 39 says, we are the witness of everything he did. They killed him by hanging him on the cross. So Peter testifies, right? He had a personal, first-hand, encounter or knowledge, or saw everything before his eyes. The message of the cross is central. Jesus was killed unjustly, but Peter was a witness. He saw it, he experienced it. So the gospel rests on real history and eyewitness, right? We don't preach ideas, we proclaim the truth, what actually happened. Verses 40 and 41. But God raised him from the dead on the third day, and he was seen by the witness whom God has already chosen. The turning point of the gospel was the resurrection, right? Jesus didn't remain dead, because if he did remain dead, then there will be no, it won't be the gospel, it won't be the good news, it won't be from God, right? He would be like others who claim to be God and remain dead. But Jesus rose up, and we today have a relationship with the living God because Jesus is alive, right? Because if Jesus is not alive, then we will not be able to approach God. We won't have the righteousness of God. So it was very clear Peter's making a message here. Jesus, and appeared to the chosen witnesses who now share the truth. So that's why they were bold. That's why Peter, before the resurrection and receiving the Holy Spirit, he was scared, had fear, But after the resurrection and after seeing the resurrection and receiving the after receiving the Holy Spirit, boldness came in and he was ready to die, even sleeping when he was, about to know that next day he was going to be sentenced. And even in history it says that, he got crucified upside down because he did not find it worthy to be crucified like Jesus. And that is what resurrection power and the Holy Spirit do together. Resurrection as the proof of Jesus is what he claimed to be. The gospel without resurrection is not a gospel at all, right? Verse 42 says, he commanded us to preach to the people and testify. Peter doesn't just reflect, he reveals the truth, he reveals the assignment, reveals the mission, right? Jesus gave them a mission to proclaim, not to keep it silent. And so the gospel demands to be shared because it's such a good news, it cannot be kept just to us. It has to be shared with people. People must know about it. People must have an opportunity to receive it. And verse 43 says, all prophets testify that everyone who believes in him receives forgiveness of sins through his name. So the final point is the most powerful. Everyone who believes receives forgiveness, right? No longer limited to a nation, law, or now grace can flow freely. Forgiveness is not is no longer earned; it is received through faith in Jesus Christ. So the heart of the gospel, salvation by grace through faith, Ephesians 2:8. How does it apply to our lives, right? God doesn't show favoritism, neither should we. God embraces people from every nation background. We must too. So we need to remove cultural backgrounds, how people look, how people are, who are they, what are they going through. We cannot make that judgment. Um, Peter didn't just preach a theory, he shared what he witnessed. Our testimonies are powerful, right? And it could lead people to receiving the gospel. We cannot hide that, right? Resurrection changes everything. Jesus' victory over that is another of our anchor for our hope, that it assures us of his power, his identity, and our future. And everyone who believes is forgiven. So we need to know that since we believe in Jesus Christ, in his death and resurrection, we are forgiven people, we're set free, right? So God's message is for everyone. I want to encourage you with that, including us. We don't have to be from the right background. We don't have to fix ourselves before coming. Jesus came for the broken, the outsider, the seeker. Like Cornelius's household, all we need is to open our hearts and faith and belief. So tomorrow we're going to look at 44 to 40 verses 44 to 48. What happens when Peter starts preaching, and we'll see the powerful move of God in Cornelius's life and the move that started for the Gentiles, the first Gentile family to get saved, a household to get saved, and how God turned it around for everyone. So I hope you have a wonderful Friday, and I will see you tomorrow. God bless you.